My name is Daryl Kwao. In our first story, the Special Police Team against illegal mining has intercepted and seized 4 excavators, 2 of which were reportedly being escorted by armed men believed to be military personnel. Director of Special Operations at the police headquarters, ACP Eric Isiedu, says the operation was launched following credible intelligence received indicating suspicious movement of heavy-duty mining equipment outside the Samreboy township. The team had earlier raided a large illegal mining site identified as Akane, situated on the outskirts of Asankragua. The operation resulted in the arrest of 9 persons, the seizure of mining equipment being used for illegal mining activities. Let's get more from Erastus Asari Donko. Good afternoon to you, Erastus. What more can you tell us?
Well, Daryl, this operation has been ongoing for some time. The IGP's task force is still...
Hello, Erastus. Okay, we just have... Okay, Erastus, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Well, we lost you a bit, so can you just recap what you were saying about what more you know about this latest incident?
Well, so the onslaught on illegal mining sites within the Samreboy, Inche, our Win municipality enclave has been going on for some time. This is a task force set up by the Inspector General of Police. They've been located there for more than a month now, and they have been conducting a number of swoops in the area. So far, they've seized over 200 excavators and arrested quite a number of illegal miners who, some of them, we understand, are currently facing prosecution. Now, just a couple of days ago, they invaded a mining site, one very, very large indeed, within, and they have seized quite a number of equipment. They arrested 9 illegal miners within that enclave. Yesterday, they also got intelligence that some military people were escorting about 4 excavators into one of the forest reserves close to Samreboy, and they were able to trace and arrest the people involved and have seized 4 of the excavators. In fact, I tried to find out whether indeed the military personnel have been arrested. I have not gotten information to that confirmation, but they are saying that upon their interrogation, the military personnel are indicating that they have no involvement in that particular operation, but the police are still investigating.
We know there have been controversies around excavators lately. Do you know the current status of those excavators plus the suspects?
We do know that many of the suspects have been transported to Accra. Some of them have started going to court, as I've been briefed. We are also being told that all the excavators, over 200 of them, have been put to a pool, which is in the proper custody of the Ghana Police Service. We are arranging to get footage of the pool of excavators seized so far for our viewers.
Right, and any word from the Special Police Task Force on what this latest operation means for the fight against illegal mining going forward?
Well, Daryl, it is very, very interesting that even as we have the task force based within the Samreboy enclave, and they have been doing a number of arrests, we still have people trying to invade forest illegally, and that I'm getting the information from them that is pushing them to sustain this, and so they might be staying in that locality for a longer time than anticipated.
All right, Erastus Asari Donko, I appreciate the update. Thank you so much. Now, the Accra Metropolitan Assembly says it is targeting Kimbu Road to Railways ECG Junction to the King Taki statue, Operation Square of Accra, in its latest decongestion exercise scheduled for next week. The MA says the 3-day exercise has the support of the Korle Klote Municipal Assembly with support from the Ghana Police Service, market leaders, transport unions, and other key stakeholders. A statement from the AMA reads, we are going to put that on your screen in a bit. The statement reads, all right. This follows the Assembly's decision to roll out a major decongestion exercise beginning to clear all illegal activities and structures obstructing pedestrian and vehicular movement in the city. Such encroachments are in violation of the AMA Hawkers bylaws and contravene Section 1171 of the Road Traffic Regulations 2012 LI 2180 and are therefore punishable by law. This exercise aims to enhance public safety, urban mobility, and the city's free flow of vehicles and pedestrians. Targeted areas include, but are not limited to, triangles around the AMA head office, Kimbu Road to Railways, Brewery, ECU Junction, Tama Station to Railways, Kentucky Statue, as already indicated. And so that's the statement coming from the Accra Metropolitan Assembly. Let's speak to Head of Public Affairs at the AMA for more on this move. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. How are things shaping up?
Thank you very much for the opportunity. Let me state that today, for instance, as part of measures to ensure that we get especially fit or hawkers to understand for this exercise and appeal for operation. The mayor himself, Honorable Michael Bakwale, together with Popular State, asked of the traffic. So all these areas that have been listed, the mayor engaged street hawkers directly to ensure that they buy into the idea. And as part of his engagement, the mayor was quite clear to state plans that have been put in place to encourage whatever they are doing and then get them to also get their business to boom. So as part of what Mayor said, Mayor announced the government's 24-hour agenda, and that includes the installation of solar-powered street lights within the entire central business district, a new rotational trading system that would allow traders to also sell for longer hours on selected days. We are also looking at new ticketing policy to also ease some financial burdens on traders. So today, the mayor, together with the Krolikrote MCE, moved into the entire central business district, all these areas that have been measured, to engage the traders directly. And it was quite clear, the feedback was very, very clear. Let me also state that, the Assembly is not embarking on this exercise just because we want to clear people off the street. On Tuesday, Mayor engaged key stakeholders, and the appeal was quite clear that they want the Assembly to embark on this exercise. Monday, let me state that the transport operators who were part of this engagement have threatened to embark on this strike action because of some of these things. But the mayor has assured that on Tuesday we are moving in. Cooperation from the hawkers is very welcoming, and for us as an Assembly, we are quite hopeful that on Tuesday, with the assurances and the promises Mayor has outlined, we will get the traders to move off the streets and the pavement, especially to also deal with issues of sanitation. That is very, very key on the Mayor's agenda.
Help our audience understand how much of a problem the congestion is for the city.
The congestion problem in the city is very massive, and the transport operators are clear. Their strike action are very clear. Example of what they want the Assembly to do to be able to deal with issues of congestion within the city. Currently, as we speak, even today, we saw a lot of the traders on the street itself, and that is a no-go area. Just as the statement said, some of these trading activities on the street contravene the road traffic regulations, and the mayor has said that he will not sit down for any eventuality to happen with respect to any road crashing into any trader. So we'll move in to ensure that we deal with the situation and then ensure clean a city where we can all live in a love.
What happens to the traders and the hawkers who are affected by this decongestion exercise? Are there any plans for them?
Yes, so we are not just leaving them. The mayor as part of his engagement, feedback that came out from the market queens were quite clear that they are shared within the market. So we're urging all of them to move into the market and then embark on their trading activities. Those who don't have, the Assembly is considering other alternatives, just as I said earlier on, to ensure that on specific days, some specific roads within the entire Central Business District, that the metropolis will be blocked for trading activities and all that. We are also looking at ensuring that some of the pavements, we do markings for them to be behind those lines for them to. And let me also state that as part of measures to ensure sustainability, Mayor has been very, very clear that we are going to introduce a 24-hour operational model, and this will include a sanitation and a security task force to also complement efforts by the Assembly to promote trading activities. Mayor Bako Alote acknowledged the fact that the informal sector plays an important role, and he is not in just as he has assured them to displace them.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned sustainability, because we've seen a number of these exercises over the years. There's a decongestion exercise, and the traders and hawkers come back. And so you say there's a plan in place that requires a tough, if you like, is a tough task on the part of the AMA. How feasible is this sustainability plan of yours?
For us as an Assembly, I respectfully beg to differ. This is not a big problem for the Assembly. Because if you look at the engagement we've had with all these stakeholders, including market leaders, including hawkers, TUC and all that, the message is clear. Now, you can see that there is that paradigm shift. We have stakeholders themselves, citizens themselves calling on the Assembly to back on this very exercise. And the AMA, let me also say that as part of its long-term measures to ensure that we accommodate these traders, we have the market redevelopment agenda, and Mayor has assured that he's going to ensure that the market within the city are expanded to be able to accommodate a lot more of these traders. Let me also add that as part of sustainability plan, the 24-hour operational model, we are going to get security men to man these various areas to prevent the traders from coming back.
Very well. All the best with the operation. We'll be following closely. Gilbert Ankwa, Head of Public Affairs, AMA, thank you so much for your time. Now, turning to other news, the Ejura-Atebubu-Yeji Highway is riddled with potholes and plagued by armed robberies. The stretch has now become a symbol of despair for residents and traders. With accidents claiming lives and criminals exploiting the chaos, local leaders are issuing desperate pleas for government's intervention. Anas Sabit tells how this crumbling road is endangering lives, strangling the economy, and testing the resolve of communities pushed to the brink.
This is what remains of a road meant to connect communities. For years, neglect has turned the Ejura-Atebubu-Yeji Highway into a crumbling obstacle course. But the dangers here go far deeper than cracked asphalt. This road has become a breeding ground for tragedy, where every journey risks lives, livelihoods, and safety. Locals here say this stretch is cursed. Potholes swallow tires and armed robbers stalk the shadows. Traders, drivers and farmers now face green calculus, risk the route or lose their income.
Our road isn't the best. We can't talk about it. We have a very bad road from here to Kumasi. You can't use the road at night because of the robbery cases that are ongoing. Just because the road is not more trouble.
Member of Parliament for Atewa Mountain constituency, Honorable Sanja Nanja, laments the socio-economic impact of the road to the local economy.
It is even the source of the armed robbery here. It's one of the causes. Because the road, if you observe, wherever there's an armed robbery on the road is where the potholes are. Because when the cars get there, they cannot speed. So the armed robbers take advantage of that. And not only Atewa Mountain, We have about 5-6 big markets around us. You go to Kejeji, come to Kwame Danso, come to Atebu itself, Amantin, Prime, Yeji, they all have big markets. And it is affecting their local economy. But people are afraid to come and apply their trade here. People are afraid to come and patronize the markets.
Brunei's Regional Minister Francis also admits the road's decay has outpaced solutions. He laments how 7 lives were lost through accidents due to the deplorable nature of the road.
The effect is that because of the number of potholes that we have on the road, it has increased robbery cases. So many robbery cases. Additionally, road accident. Last week, because of the nature of the road, it claims about 7 lives on this road. So please, all these are issues that we are not comfortable with.
While pleading for emergency repairs, the minister is however deploying Operation Shield patrols, checkpoints and plans to recruit more security personnel into the region to help arrest the situation.
One of the security issues I'm putting in place is that as I speak now, Yeji requested for one of their cars from the region. I have given directives that the regional commander should, with immediate effect, release the vehicle to Yeji division so that they can get more vehicles to plow the road. In addition, we have to increase the number of police people that we have. As I speak, I have the data. We know the police strength here highly inadequate. So we are going to make sure that the minister, appropriate minister, will help us get us more men so that monitoring will be enhanced.
Night force brings new dangers here. While leaders debate solutions, locals pray for dawn and deliverance. For now, survival on this highway demands luck, vigilance and hope. Anas Sabit, Joy News, Atebu.
Assembly members at Etrimampunia want President Mahama to consider the nomination of Sekina Foriwa, a member of the communication team of the National Democratic Congress, as district chief executive. They have threatened to resist any other nominee for the position. Etrimampunia and Asante Mampon districts are the only 2 assemblies in the Ashanti region yet to receive nominations for the chief executive position. Ohim Interior reports.
34 assembly members, made up of 25 elected members and 9 government appointees, on May 9, 2025, petitioned President Mahama to nominate a former assemblywoman for Adobera electoral area, Sakina Oforiwa, as district chief executive. But the number of the petitioners has since shot up to 40. This means more than 2/3 of the 50 assembly members are written for Madam Sakina, one of the 3 candidates shortlisted for the position.
From our press conference today, and then with our activities, from honorable members individually may have their choices. But if you heard the voices, how a lot of them were cheering to one of the candidates when we mentioned the nominees, it tells you that one candidate, which is Honorable Sakina, is most of the assembly members their preference. However, I can say there are choices, but majority of the assembly members would opt for Honorable Sakina.
The assembly members say she has been supportive of development projects in the area, donating 30 motorbikes to assembly members and also provided free meals to polling agents of all political parties in the last general election. Here is assembly member for Anansu electoral area, Salifu David, who insists the failure of President Mahama to nominate Madam Sakina would be resisted.
To cut the long story short, she is a unifier. She is a unifier, somebody who can bring the party together for development. Not even only the NDC party, but will bring both NDC and an MPP party together for national development. And 2, she's somebody who is very supportive, very, very supportive. She has contributed a lot in the form of motorbikes, about 30 motorbikes Even aside that, she also gave us some monies that we cannot mention here to help our campaign during the assembly members' elections. And aside that, during the elections, she also bought food and other ingredients to feed the polling agents and even those who were at the polling stations to vote. I mean, even she did not single out the distance. In my area, for instance, everybody was fed. Everybody was fed. This shows that she's a unifier and she doesn't discriminate. And the most important thing is she is very approachable. Very, very approachable. When you are going to this lady, you don't entertain any fears. And she's a mother for all. We are pleading with His Excellency that he will mention the one that we prefer so that the endorsement will be very easy.
But how is the delayed announcement of the DCE nominee affecting the development of the Achimamponua District Assembly? Assembly member for Ntobroso, Emmanuel Domfe, is one of the petitioners.
Currently, the district coordinating directors are serving as the acting DCEs of districts without DCE. And then these coordinators don't have much power, especially in terms of awarding contracts and then taking certain decisions. They are limited. There are certain decisions they can't take. So almost all the sectors are affected. In terms of school feeding, because there's no DCE, our district, we are not operating. In terms of projects, developmental projects, roads, schools, infrastructures.
Meanwhile, members of the United Cadres Front of Achimamponua have also appealed to President Mahama to speed up the appointment of DCE for the area. The group intends to hit the streets if their preferred candidate is not appointed. From Achimamponua for Joy News, Ohimenteria reporting.
President John Mahama says government will decentralize Ghana's sanitation budget, making districts responsible for their own cleanliness. He believes this will address inefficiencies in the current system, which has been criticized for channeling large sums to private companies that end up exploiting their workers. Speaking during his thank you tour of the Greater Accra region, President Mahama says sanitation will now become a key performance indicator for assessing local assemblies.
All resources are going to be available to all assemblies to implement their development projects and carry out effective sanitation programs to keep our districts clean. Cabinet will soon meet on a decentralization of the sanitation budget and make every district responsible for its own sanitation. Cleanliness will become one of the key performance indicators for measuring the performance of MMDCs and will determine whether they remain in office or are removed. Now that most of our DCEs have been nominated and confirmed, we'll begin observing the National Sanitation Day program every month. This will be a revived monthly exercise involving all Ghanaians. This time, it will not be a symbolic event. It will be legally backed, it will be properly funded, and it will be operationalized through partnerships with local assemblies.
Meanwhile, in the Upper West region, President John Mahama has assured of fixing major roads in the area. Addressing chiefs and people of the region on his thank you tour, he asserted that fixing the roads will not only increase economic activities in the region, but enable them to have access to quality health care as well. Here's Rafiq Salam's report from WA.
President John Dramani Mahama first had a closed-door private meeting with the overlord of the Wala Traditional Council, now Fuseni City Pulipo IV, before interacting with Paramount, Divisional and sub-chiefs and Pogonemini from the traditional area. President Mahama then rolled out of the Wana's Palace, headed to the Nasiri Bomb II Park to thank the chiefs and people of the region for the groundswell of support given to the party would enable him to win not only the presidency but overwhelming victory for 188 members. That included 4 independent parliamentarians who gave the party more than 2/3 majority. Vice President of the Upper West Regional House of Chiefs and Paramount Chief of Zini, Koro Abu Diekasun Kabenania the Fifth, laid bare the biggest challenges in the region, particularly focusing on major roads in the region.
Sablihan Tumu Road, Isa Kojupiri Wahabu Tumu Road, Wa Dormon Wichau Road, Wa Sola Bamboy Tachima Road, Jirapa Do Winiko Nandom Road, Wa Bulinge Road, Hamle Fialmoa Tumu Road. Let me also add that the Simon Dendon Dombo University of Business and Integrated Development Studies and Dr. Hilaire Leman Technical University equally need special attention for infrastructural development to increase student intake.
President Mahama, in his response, assured the people of advanced plans to fix the roads.
During the campaign, we traveled on the terrible road network that has become characteristic of the Upper West region. In this region, under the big push, we are prioritizing the Wa Tumu Bolgatanga Trunk Road and the Techiman Wenchi Bole Wa Hamile corridor. Sections of the Sola Fufuso Road will also be resurfaced to improve connectivity between the Upper West and the Savannah and Northern regions. These roads will not only enhance trade and transport, but they will also stimulate cross-border business and revive economic activity. Equally, we will upgrade roads in the Wa East, Nadoli, Dafema Buse, Isa, and Sisala East districts to improve access to markets, schools, and health facilities.
He disclosed that contractors working on the projects will not have any difficulty regarding payments of certificates for work done.
Work will begin very soon. In a few months, you see contractors on all these roads because the money has been provided in the budget. This year we set aside 14 billion Ghana cedis for the big push. And the finance minister has assured me that all the contractors will get 15% mobilization to be able to mobilize to site. And he has also assured me that any contractor on the big push projects who presents his certificate for payment will be paid within 2 weeks of presentation of the certificate.
Turning to infrastructure projects in tertiary institutions, particularly the Simon Dombo University of Business and Integrated Development Studies, John Mahama has this to say.
We will continue projects in the University of Development Studies and other tertiary institutions in this region to improve learning outcomes. And I remember that Professor Tamils of blessed memory started a library complex and a multi-complex lecture hall in UDS, which was abandoned after MDC left office. We're going to continue and complete it. And the hostel block that Professor Mills started that has been abandoned, we'll continue it and complete it so that our students in UDS can have a place to stay.
He also spoke of his plans on agriculture.
We're also prioritizing agriculture under the Feed Ghana program. The Upper West region is expected to be a major beneficiary of this program. The NDC administration understands that farming is the lifeblood of this region. And so under the Feed Ghana and Agriculture for Wealth Creation agenda, we will construct and rehabilitate small and medium-scale dams across Sisala, Lambusie, and Wa East. We will invest in community-based irrigation schemes to promote dry season farming, such as the Kamba Irrigation Dam. We will provide subsidized fertilizers, seeds, and improved mechanization services. Establish modern warehouses and cold storage facilities to reduce post-harvest losses.
Our Power Regional Minister, Lawyer Charles Wongo Pozun, expressed confidence that under the leadership of the President, the government will deliver on its mandate.
We are confident that under your leadership, our roads will no longer be a of neglect, but a gateway to markets and opportunities. We believe that our farmers will no longer be left at the mercy of the weather and uncertainties, but will be supported with modern technologies, access to credit, and ready markets.
Reporting for the news, Rafiq Salam. Wow.
Well, turning to the country's energy problems, Director of Communications of the opposition New Patriotic Party, Richard Ahiagba, has attributed the recent financial losses of the Electricity Company of Ghana to what he describes as egregious inefficiencies and unfavorable power purchase agreements signed by the previous NDC government. Speaking on Newsfile, Mr. Ahiagba criticized the NDC for entering into agreements that obligated the state to provide fuel to independent power producers without cost recovery mechanisms, a decision he labeled as sinful and economically damaging.
But you know, I think that, yes, so one of the problems is inefficiency. But the other bit is pricing, which has been talked about widely, that it reflects cost of production. And also, I argue that it's leadership, but when it comes to the NDC, it is contractual and is politics. You see, I have not come to settle in my mind why we signed a power purchase agreement where we agree with people that would provide them fuel, okay, which is not to be recovered in terms of the pricing, and that all you will do as an IPP, come, bring your equipment, generate power for us, we'll provide the fuel for you, and then you just bill us. I mean, I don't know who does that. It's sinful. In fact, if I remember, I think the World Bank commentary on this matter is to the extent that it's expensive and it's wrong to sign such power purchase agreement. That's the problem. That, for me, is the problem. Take away the inefficiencies of ECG and the rest of the matters that we've talked about. That is a problem.
Yeah, the World Bank did fault them. And when you came in 2016, this became a major thing in 2017. Yeah. You set up a committee, you remember Philip Addison and the rest of them, all of them there. So should we still be talking about this in 2025?
Yes. Yeah, we should be. But you see, the MPP government did what it could to deal with some of the elements of the contract, which is to the extent of the take-or-pay element of it. But this aspect of fuel is entrenched.
Well, co-founder and executive partner of Arthur Energy Africa, engineer Harriet Emisa Arthur, who also spoke on Newsfile, says Ghana's recurrent power sector crisis is due to long-standing inaction and poor accountability rather than solely financial constraints.
What is happening to us is to be expected. If we continue to run the sector as we're running, then this should be our expectation. I mean, I think what we see as what we classify as a looming power crisis is not looming. It's been coming, and it comes a day at a time. We consistently have not done what we needed to do, and that's why we're here today. Now, the debt is also increasing because we continue, as has been said, I heard the previous speaker talk about the losses in the sector, the operational inefficiencies, and so forth. And so that is just a cumulative effect that occasionally we see as our power is going off tomorrow. Then that's when we panic and we begin to do stuff. I think that if you look at what has been happening over decades now, the problems we're facing with our power sector is a combination of inaction on our part as Ghanaians.
It's a money problem. Did you say inaction? Is it not just a money problem?
It's not just a money problem.
Okay.
It's not just a money problem because when you buy a commodity and you sell it and you do not collect from the person you sold it to, then you don't expect to break even. I mean, maybe it's only in our power sector that we expect that if we don't account for the energy we bought, we can still somehow magically make the books work.
Meanwhile, economist Professor Godfrey Bokpin has called for urgent structural reforms and private sector participation to fix the energy crisis faced by the country.
I think we are at a point where I believe we should all support government in some kind of a private sector participation in the downstream distribution. And I think that may be different from saying we are selling ECG. Government can still be the sole shareholder of ECG, but we should be able to invite private sector in the distribution of power and collection, which will also require the private sector to bring in capital and also bring in private sector efficiency in all of that. But on this current model, I don't think that it is sustainable. And I believe that there are structural reforms under the IMF-supported program with respect to how ECG ought to be managed. And there are clear indicators that government has to meet as part of our ongoing IMF-supported program. I know Cabinet has to take a decision on ECG in terms of private sector participation, and I believe that government must communicate this clearly to Ghanaians. That is different from selling ECG as a company. ECG can still be a holding company, wholly owned by government of Ghana, but I think we should be able to invite private sector participation.
As always, the staff are against it. They don't want to hear it.
Change will be resisted because people want to preserve their comfort zone.
All right, you're watching the Joy Newsroom. We're taking a short break. When we come back, we have some more stories for you. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. Let's do some health-related stories next. Hypertension cases are on the rise in the Western region, with new data showing an increase from 2.96% in 2023 to 3.11% this year. As the world marks World Hypertension Day, health authorities in the region are screening residents to curb the silent killer in an initiative dubbed Measure 1 Million. Natalia Kwanzaa has more in this report.
In the western region of Ghana, a silent threat. It doesn't shout. It doesn't always show. But it is claiming lives every single day. This threat is hypertension.
In the western region, the incidence of hypertension increased from 2.96% in 2023 to 3.11% as at the end of 2024. Ladies and gentlemen, these proportions we are reporting on are based on the number of clients who reported to our various facilities to have their blood pressures checked. Hypertension can present in varying forms of fatal complications.
Worldwide, over 1 billion people live with hypertension. Every year, more than 10 million lives are lost, more than all infectious diseases combined. And here in the Western region, the numbers are rising.
On this premise that the Western Regional Health Directorate of the Ghana Health Service has chosen to deepen awareness on hypertension, highlighting the need for every adult to check his or her blood pressure from time to time and to know the consequences of unmanaged and poorly managed hypertension. The 2025 World Hypertension Day celebration has been extended to a one-month campaign dubbed Measure 1 Million. We are screening 1 million people in Ghana in the month of May for hypertension. In the Western region, we are poised as a service to screen 66,000 people for hypertension. So far, our cherished healthcare workers have screened over 8,000 people in our region for hypertension.
You don't need a hospital card. You don't need insurance. Just walk into any wellness clinic across the hospitals. Screenings are free. And if you are diagnosed, quality care awaits.
I call on all citizens, particularly those aged 18 years and above, to take advantage of these screening exercises and know their blood pressure status. Hypertension is a silent killer, as we were told earlier, but it can be managed with early detection and proper treatment. By participating in this screening exercise, we can identify those at risk and provide them with the necessary support and guidance to manage their condition.
Hypertension is silent, but together we are raising our voices, measure it, control it, and live long.
Try as much as possible. If you have any issue with your medicine, walk into your pharmacy nearby, ask of the pharmacist, talk with the pharmacist, and the pharmacist, together with your doctor, will be able to help change the medicine for you, and so that you can get the medicines that will prevent, not give you those problems that you're experiencing, and you'll be better. Again, there are others too. They have gone to churches, they have gone to programs, and they've told them that they should stop taking their medicine and believe in faith. Yes, faith works, but they will also believe that once you have been identified, you have to combine the two.
The Food and Drugs Authority says it is cracking down on illegal importation and sale of illicit drugs in the Western region. Regional Director John Lai Odetete says the authority, in collaboration with other agencies, will launch street operations targeting tramadol, red, and other opioids. He has been speaking at an anti-opioid forum in Kumasi in the Ashanti region.
Pokuari School in the Ashanti region accommodates about 4,000 students. As part of their 25th anniversary, the 2,000-year group of WAS, described as AY, has unveiled a landscape project to improve the conditions of commuting and beautification in the school. The landscaping project, costing 1 million cedis, include laying of ground pipes to connect running water, paving systems that incorporate grass growth through open cell pavers connecting to some dormitories and halls. Vice President of the AY Group, Katechie Owusu-Boateng John, indicated the gesture will improve the school's environment and make it conducive for students to use.
It's a ritual that every year group, after completion, 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20, 25, you do something for the school. Very terrible, that is the word to use. Very terrible. You could see the headmaster was talking about it. When it rains, we can't even pass that area. But now, the place is well defined. We have the curves defined, the grassing defined. And in fact, we can at least sit at the place and walk through without even touching where the green paths are. It will really improve movement, organize the area, and then also for beautification too as well.
The 25th anniversary and homecoming of the AY Group was commemorated with a colorful event that assembled management, staff, students, and students of WAS. The event was themed Developing 21st Century Talent, Integrating Digital and Social Skills to emphasize the importance of adapting to new trends in the education system. Minister for Works and Housing, Katechie Kenneth Ejay, commended the alumni and stakeholders for their support to improve teaching and learning in the school.
The active support of all stakeholders, educational institutions, parents, alumni associations, private sector, and civil society is indispensable. I am delighted to learn that Katechie Z7 will soon present the school with 107 laptops and refurbish its ICT center. This is a shining example of leadership in action and the influential role alumni play in shaping the future of education. I also commend many schools' investments in digital infrastructure have contributed meaningfully to the transformation of our alma mater. Let us continue to harness our collective strengths to advance the cause of education.
Dean of Office of the International Relations at the University of Cape Coast, Kateche Professor Samuel Bet Bwedikusi, called for constant maintenance of new projects for prolonged use. Teachers and students who exhibited exceptional roles in the development of the school were awarded. The AZ Group was officially handed the baton to take over from the AY Group for the 74th anniversary celebrations in 2027. Clinton Yeboys reports for
The European Union is seeking to equip health practitioners with the resources and knowledge to prevent an epidemic of non-communicable diseases in sub-Saharan Africa. The project also intends to reduce the disease burden on the already ailing economy of countries in the region and ensure the health of citizenry. Now, Fred Kwame Asare brings us a report from the consortium meeting of the Train the Trainer workshop held at the University of Health and Allied Sciences.
Sub-Saharan Africa has been identified with increasing cases of non-communicable diseases and child health issues. This development is largely attributed to lifestyle among other factors and identified to burden the health sector in the region. It was in this vein that the European Union initiated the capacity strengthening of transdisciplinary education for non-communicable diseases in West Africa project. As part of the project, 6 courses would be developed and embedded into the curriculum of the University of Health and Allied Sciences, University of Ghana, Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, and the University of the Gambia. Dr. Kirsten Clipston Grubish, who is the Vice Chair of the Global Health Center for Health Sciences and Primary Care, is the facilitator of the project.
An important part of that is, of course, also to look at financing, at health financing, and it's also then part of the courses. And as we are having so many intervention programs that are already taking place or that are planned, it's very important to also contextualize and to look at how can we make sure they are really reaching everybody and they are also then achieving that disease is much better controlled. And as part of that, we are all very interested, of course, also using modern technology. So an important aspect and also of those courses is to specifically look at how can we use modern technology.
Professor Paul Anuma of the University of Health and Allied Sciences shed light on the short and long-term goals of the project.
And the first and the most important is to build capacity. And so we target to train 50 teachers at higher education level as a first step. And these teachers would then also train others. Not only that, we are also introducing an innovative teaching and learning strategy. That is what we call the challenge-based learning. Thirdly, ultimately, the plan of our universities is to harmonize the way that we train people. And then ultimately, we're going to embed these short courses into our existing Master of Public Health programs across our universities.
Because NCD, only one healthcare professional or one discipline cannot take care of that. It must be the nurses, the doctors, the public health officers, the physiotherapists, and other cadres of within the healthcare workforce. Right, and then we're also collaborating with Ghana simply because we believe that we are having the same problems, having the same issues. So coming together, collaborating together, and then working towards the capacity building for NCD in these two countries is very important.
Fred Kwame Asare, Joy News.
And our final story this afternoon, Municipal Chief Executive for Qatar, Wisdom Siade, is asking for calm and transparency following the inauguration of a 7-member committee by the Volta Regional Minister James Gunu to probe the sale and occupation of the reclaimed lands meant to shelter the vulnerable, but now reportedly occupied through questionable means. While suspicions of a political witch hunt swell among some residents, the MCA insists this is about accountability, not blame. Ivy Setoji has more in the following report.
The MC for Keta, Wisdom Siade, insists that this is not a witch hunt. Instead, it is a necessary step to understand what happened to the reclaimed lands over the 8 years and to set things right. He is, however, calling on anyone who acquired the land legally or otherwise to present their documents and assist the committee in the ongoing investigation.
Yeah, I have heard there are so many complaints that those who bought the land or those who the land has been given to by any means, they are saying that some people have political links with the past government. That is why lands have been given to them. Yes, that is where the investigation must go on. Now, after the investigation, we will be able to establish that yes, those who acquired the land, are they from Keta or not? Because there's one accusation that the land is being sold to people who are not indigents. So after the investigation, that will also be established. Then when that is established, maybe, just maybe, it could be that the people who are buying the land are all from Keta. Then the investigation will reveal that. Then that will also put matters to rest. I want to caution that this is not any way trying to witch hunt anybody. We are not after anybody. We are just after the truth, and we want to understand what really happened on this land in the past 8 years. For us to see how we can regularize certain things, revoke certain appointments. For sure, what I can see, what we did the whole day walking on the land, trying to look at the layout. Some are encroaching on proposed road. That one, no doubt, must be cleared. Some are also encroaching on government designated institutional land. Government hospital, government, the land has been cut for school, psychiatric center or rehabilitation center, sports complex. If you are encroaching on any of those land, definitely I think that we should take those ones from the people.
The reclaimed lands were intended as a lifeline for families displaced by natural disasters, but rapid and unauthorized development is now threatening that purpose. In response, a 7-member committee has been formed and inaugurated by the regional minister to uncover the truth and provide clear recommendations. Chairman for the committee, Dr. Joe Atipo, promised to ensure fairness and restore confidence in land administration. The Volta Regional Minister, James Gunu, says they will act on the report without fear or favor.
Why now? Because this is the time set for resetting agenda, resetting this nation. So the resetting agenda requires that the Keta reclaimed land must be investigated, because I visited the place. The layout we saw on paper is different from what is actually going on the ground. So the 7-member committee has been given 1 month to investigate, to establish the original purpose of this whole reclaimed land, and also investigate the occupants on the land to see whether they are occupying the place legitimately or otherwise, and advise us when they come out with their recommendations in a month's time. We will sit down and then study the recommendation.
As the probe gets underway, the message from local authorities is clear: support the process, speak the truth, and help shape a better future for Keta. Ivy Setoji, Joy News.
And that's the update from the Joy Newsroom. My name is Darryl Carr. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of the weekend.